Hello, everyone. This is going to be a rather sad video, and you should be aware of what's going on. I always try to inform all of my viewers what's going on. Just try to keep you informed all the time. Report the latest developments and what's in the news, what's going on. You should be aware for yourself, for your loved ones. You have to realize and you have to ask yourself, just how bad can it get? Just how bad can it get? How bad can things get? Well, social media has been around for a few years now. Just a few years, maybe 15 years. And there's been some developments. There's what's trending now on Google and on social media is the consumption of human flesh. Yes, you heard it from me first, folks. It's cannibalism is trending. And way before George Floyd was murdered, way before even coronavirus broke in the news, like 8 months ago, John Legend's wife, Chrissy Teigen, was saying that she would like to try human flesh. That if she were in a human meat was the way she put it, and if she were in a fancy restaurant when you want to try human meat, just a little taste. So, and she said this twice. She said twice that she would like to try human flesh. And ever since then, people have been obsessed with this idea of tasting human flesh just to see what it tastes like. It's all over Google. It's trending. The Japanese opened a new restaurant that serves human flesh. Back in 2014, the government of Japan approved the consumption of human flesh. And there's this restaurant that serves human flesh. Now what they do is they have these people sign a waiver. And they have to be young and healthy, and they have to follow a certain diet so that their meat is healthy to eat. And they sign this waiver, and their families get $35,000, and if they die in a car crash or die young, their bodies are willed to the restaurant, and then they use their bodies to make meals, ranging in price from 100 to over 1,000 euros. So it's quite expensive. And you should know what's happening. You should be aware of this. Now, it would be so easy to blame Goddess for this. To say, you made all this evil. You created every idea that's out there. You created all ideas. You even created thinking. If you created thinking, created ideas, created concepts, created forms, then you enabled this. And it's just as easy to blame a goddess as it is a god. So whatever you believe in, so I'm not discriminating against any religions right now. Whatever you believe in, it's easy to blame God for this. Just saying. But if you believe in free will, then you realize that although the Creator may have enabled cannibalism, that the Creator certainly didn't make these people choose cannibalism. The Creator didn't make people choose cannibalism. In fact, cannibalism up till now, heretofore, has been quite rare. It's been quite a rare occurrence, at least in the civilized world. In the ancient world, it was more common. It was much more common in the ancient world, but in modern times, it's been less common. due in no small part to the influence of Judeo-Christianity, which is one of the good things that came out of Judeo-Christianity. I'm not totally knocking Judeo-Christianity. I realize there's some good things that came out of it. And it was good to put an end to cannibalism. So that's a good thing. There were other cultures that also condemned the consumption of human flesh, and even certain forms of animal flesh, like India. They've always disapproved of the consumption of human flesh in India. So there's good countries that have spread a good influence, and they do have a custom in Tibet when a person dies, when they've died of natural causes or some other cause, that they feed their flesh to animals. They scrape the meat off of the bones, they bury the bones, and then they feed the flesh to vultures. So to continue the circle of life, that's sort of the idea. But they don't eat flesh themselves. So but this cannibalism is a really insidious trend. These people obviously have no morals. And I just want to make it abundantly clear. To everyone that Maleficent Goddess hates this. She hates this, and she hates these people. You wonder, how is it possible for a creator to hate? Well, it is possible for a creator to hate her creations. She hates these people. It's Maleficent that hates. The light side of Goddess, the positive side of Goddess, the good side of Goddess, doesn't hate them. She feels sad, very sad, but she doesn't hate them. But Maleficent, she's very passionate. Maleficent is very passionate, and she hates these people. Just wanted to make that abundantly clear that she is not, even if she created cannibalism, she is not for cannibalism. She created it to give people a choice as to whether they wanted to choose to go down such a dark path or not. And apparently some people have taken the bait and have chosen to go down this path, and she absolutely hates them for it. She hates them. So, and another thing about Chrissy Teigen that you should know, this is just conjecture. It hasn't been proven. There's no proof. But it's been reported various places that Chrissy Teigen went to that island, that pedophile island, and I think it's Jeffrey Epstein's island, and so she may be a pedophile. It is possible that she's also a pedophile as well as a cannibal. Now, why would Chrissy Teigen do this? Why would she report in the news that she wanted to eat human flesh, and why would she do it twice? Because the elites are trying to seed our minds. They're trying to seed our minds with the idea of cannibalism. And to an elite, I may look like a tasty meal. I'm quite plump. There's lots of fat on my flesh, and I admit that for an elite, I would make a tempting meal. They might be thinking of eating me. Who knows what people see when they look at me? Some people are attracted to fat women and they see a good sex partner. Others look at me and they see a good meal. So, and they think I'd feed a lot of people at once. Just pass me around. But it's not funny. It's not funny because why are they doing this? Why are they seeding millions of people's minds with the idea of eating human flesh? There was a Swedish scientist recently. He's an environmentalist, that said that cannibalism might be the solution in the future to global warming. And the cannibalism might help save the environment, probably because they're killing people and they're not polluting anymore once they're dead. So that would be a solution to global warming, is to cannibalize people. And apparently also because animals pollute, they produce methane, that human flesh would be less, create less pollution for the environment than the production of meat. So they're thinking of cannibalism right now, these individuals, and why? So why are the elite seeding this idea into people's minds? Because if there's a nuclear war, people will remember Chrissy Teigen's words. They'll go out there, kill somebody, and eat their flesh. And even if they're not hungry, even if they're not starving, even if there's no shortages of food, they'll just go kill somebody right away once there's a nuclear war. And then they'll say, well, I was hungry, and there were food shortages, and I couldn't help it, and I just had to eat something, so I had to kill someone to eat something. And that'll be their excuse. That's what they want to have happen. That's the nightmare scenario, that they're seeding people's minds with the idea, first of riots. Well, actually, this happened before the riots, so they're seeding people's minds first with cannibalism, then with the idea of rioting, so that people, if there's a nuclear war, first thing people will do is go out and riot. And they won't riot specifically. It won't be so much people going out spray painting graffiti. That's not what's going to happen if there's a nuclear war. It won't be people spraying graffiti or burning buildings down. Just be looting. Just looting. And it won't be just kids looting. It'll be lots of adults too, even, all sorts of people from all walks of life looting. Because they'll think to themselves, I have to loot to survive. And it could be true. It could be true that they may have to loot to survive at some point. There'll be horrible looting. There'll be food shortages. And they're seeding people's minds with the idea of looting now in preparation for whatever they're planning. You should know this. Everyone should know this is happening right now, that people are being prepped. They're being prepared by the elite to loot. And another thing they're seeding into people's minds, not just with the riots, but also with Chrissy Teigen, is the idea of cannibalism. They want people to immediately go out there and start killing people for flesh as soon as a nuclear war happens. They want it to happen right away. Why would they do this? Why? Well, I'm not saying all elites are like this. Not all elites. But certain elites have been influenced. They've been influenced by Christianity in such a way that they're very opposed to Christianity. So they've, because they're opposed to Christianity, they've adopted Satan as their god. And because they've adopted Satan as their god, they're a classical Satanist. So it's not like Anton LaVey. It's not like Anton LaVey. It's not the Church of Satan. It's not atheists. These guys are real Satan worshippers. They're actual Satan worshippers. And they believe in mayhem. They believe in chaos. They've denied that these Satanists exist. I mean, the media and certain books have flat out denied their existence. That's because they practice in total secrecy. And they want... Now you wonder, is Satan real? Maybe Satan is real, maybe Satan is not real, but demons are real. So Satan could or could not be real. Satan is certainly a folk figure to the demons, and the demons admire Satan very much. They all call themselves Satan. They all identify with Satan. They all want to be Satan. They all want to be like Satan. So that's demons. But as far as humans go, which we're mostly focused on because humans can actually do damage, unlike demons. Humans, living souls, certain ones, certain individuals worship Satan, and they want to create mayhem. They want to create chaos and mayhem, chaos, and they want to do evil deeds. They worship evil. So is Maleficent worshiping evil? No, because it's not worshiping evil, because Maleficent only wants the good. Even though she invented evil, she only wants the good. So she tempts mankind. She offers the choice of evil, but she doesn't want people to choose evil. She doesn't want people to choose evil. In fact, she hates people who succumb to evil. She hates people who have become corrupted. She hates them. She totally hates them. All she wants is for people to understand evil. Like they say, do not resist evil. That's true. Do not resist evil. Because you should certainly, like, you may think I'm a hypocrite for pointing this out, pointing out that there's cannibals, but all I want really is for these individuals like Chrissy Teigen to be reformed. I want them to be reformed, and I realize I may have been a little hard on the elites, and I may have been too harsh on the elites, and maybe I could win them over with love more than I could with hate. And maybe certain people are very corrupt in spirit, and I know people like this. You have to give them tough love. You have to be hard on them, because they're very, very difficult to reform. And it'll take they don't respond to love, so it'll take a lot of suffering. Let's face it, it'll take a lot of suffering to reform them. It just will. And it's going to take a long, long time to reform them. It could take years, lifetimes, thousands of years of suffering before they're reformed. But it can't be all suffering. It can't be all bad. There's got to be good too. So that eventually they learn to turn to the good and reject the bad. That's going to take a lot of personal suffering. It's going to take many, many lifetimes of suffering. Perhaps in various hells. Like there's, the Hindus believe that there's more than one hell. They actually believe in heaven and hell in India. But they believe in multiple heavens and multiple hells, just the way they believe in multiple gods and multiple goddesses. They believe in multiple heavens and hells. And there's various different hells, and also the Buddhists believe in multiple hells. There's various hells for different crimes and different punishments. So could be some serious consequences for these individuals. They should think about this now before they actually decide to try human flesh, or before they promote it to millions of people. It's a little late for Chrissy Teigen. She's already influenced millions to want to eat human flesh, and she's kind of a tool. She's kind of been used, and she doesn't mind being used by the elites. The elites have really heavy karma. Whoever they may be, whoever they are. Right now, Bill Gates is promoting health care for Africa. Doesn't sound too bad. He's saying that health care for Africa could prevent the next epidemic. That could prevent another pandemic from forming, and so that's a good thing, right? Um, but a lot of people are opposed to birth control, and Bill Gates promotes birth control, so maybe he doesn't want African children to be born, and they're kind of unhappy with him about that. But um, he seems to be promoting some good and some not so good things. So it's a mixed bag, and a lot of people are like this. Like, a lot of people are, some things are good about them, some things are bad about them. They're not all bad. So there's some good and there's some bad things. Um, some people are worse than others. Some people just have all bad things about them, like my father, and um, just nothing you can do about that. Nothing you can do about people being bad. So I wanted to speak briefly about um, Breonna Taylor. There's a lot of videos on YouTube saying that Breonna Taylor was not innocent. She was not innocent, that she and her former boyfriend were involved in the drug trade, and that she was still involved in the drug trade, and that that she was named on the no-knock warrant. She was named on the no-knock warrant, that they didn't get the wrong place. And that was being reported in the media early on. Early on, I read about Breonna Taylor, and they said in the liberal media, that, and you have to call them liberal media. They would like to be thought of as neutral, but they're really not neutral anymore. So the liberal media was reporting that that Breonna Taylor was not named in the warrant. They actually had the wrong apartment, that they had the wrong place, and that they had broken in by accident and opened fire as soon as they got in and shot her to death in her own apartment. And people were appalled, people were disgusted, people were outraged. I was outraged myself. But it's being reported now on YouTube that she was named in the warrant, that they didn't have the wrong place, and that also that she had been that her new boyfriend shot at the police, and the police were shooting back, and that she was hit by a couple of stray bullets. We don't know if the cop was aiming specifically, but the boyfriend shot first. He shot one shot from the boyfriend, and supposedly it was because he didn't know who was coming in the door. He had no idea. He had no clue who it was. So he shot at them. He thought it was an invader or an intruder, and the police shot back and shot Breonna and killed her. And another thing they're saying on these YouTube videos is that even though it was a no-knock warrant, even though it was supposed to be a no-knock warrant, they knocked anyway. So that's why the boyfriend was able to shoot at them, because they knocked, and he knew someone was there. He knew someone was there, and he went and got his gun and shot at them. Now, we don't know if the boyfriend thought that had a case of mistaken identity, and or if he really wanted to kill police. We don't know. We don't know if he really wanted to kill the police, or resist arrest by shooting at the police, or whether he thought that it was like a rival gang, or a home intruder, or some other person that was invading his space, and that that as soon as he heard a knock at the door, that he just went and got his gun. We don't know, but usually when people knock, they just shout police. So maybe he really wanted to shoot the police. But conflicting reports, and we don't know who to believe now. We're not sure. We don't know who to believe because early on they were making all these false reports in the media. They never print any retractions anymore. They never make any apologies. They let people go on believing the false reports that they made initially. So we don't know who to believe. But I can tell you one thing. No-knock warrants should be unconstitutional. And not only should it be unconstitutional, but it should also be, it should be illegal to have a no-knock warrant. But it was good that they knocked anyway. That was a good thing. Even though they did get shot at, which was bad. It was pretty decent of them to knock if they did knock. But they're claiming that they just burst in. That was what the media was claiming. They just burst in and that was the wrong place. And shot Brianna illegally in her own home. But the one thing is, Brianna really didn't, even if she was not innocent, as they put it, she didn't deserve to be tried and executed right there on the spot by a police officer. She was guilty of being involved in the drug trade, which is pretty much a victimless crime, as long as it's not a deadly drug like fentanyl. Victimless crime that she didn't, even for that, she didn't deserve to be shot to death. She didn't deserve to be shot to death. It's not like, oh, she wasn't innocent, so she deserved to die. No. She deserved a fair trial. And she didn't deserve to die for it. Certainly, drug offense is not a capital crime. So, you have to put this all in perspective. I know there's a lot of people that hate drug dealers and just wish they were all dead. But you can't just say, oh, she's not innocent, so she deserved to get shot. She deserved to die. And it shouldn't be a crime for the cop to shoot her to death. But apparently it could have been, they didn't even see her standing there in the hallway. It was dark. And they may have accidentally shot her. It could have been a stray bullet. The cop was charged with some of the bullets went into a neighboring apartment, and I don't know how that happened. I don't know if it just went all the way through the walls into another apartment, but they charged him with endangering the neighbors, the father and mother, and a few children. There were, including a baby. But he wasn't charged with shooting Breonna Taylor. She was unarmed, so could have been an accident. It was something, she got shot in the line of duty, but he could have been more careful at where he was shooting, because if he shot into a neighboring apartment and shot Breonna Taylor, apparently he went nuts. He went crazy and just started spraying bullets everywhere like Rambo. You shouldn't come into another person's apartment and spray bullets like Rambo, especially in the middle of the night on their property. The Constitution guarantees people. Constitution guarantees people that they'll be safe in their homes, that they'll be secure. That's the word that's used. Secure in their property and in their homes. There's assured security in their property and their homes. This modern trend of prosecuting people for whatever they may have on their property, like guns, or like having wrong kind of gun, or having drugs. That's more modern. And you kind of wonder if it's unconstitutional, if the founding fathers would have approved of basically ignoring the Constitution. That's what they've done in modern law. that just go out and flat out ignore the Constitution and what it says and pass these laws that are not, they're not amendments to the Constitution. They're not considered amendments, but they should be. They should have a majority vote. They should have, like, I don't know if it's 2/3 or 3/4. It's either 2/3 or 3/4 vote. I think it's 3/4 vote. They have to have a 3/4 of Congress vote or a unanimous vote for an amendment to the Constitution. And this basically constitutes an amendment to the Constitution, these laws. No guns that of a certain type, and no drugs. So it's an amendment to the Constitution. And they did have an amendment to the Constitution to this effect that was actual an amendment back when they still cared about the Constitution, which was prohibition. And look how that worked out. There were gangsters shooting each other on every single street corner. And it had nothing to do with race. It was white gangsters. So that's it. Cannibalism in the news. And people's minds being seeded. Just let you know right now that Goddess, this is not her will. She does not want people to choose this path. She may have invented this path, but she doesn't want people to choose this path at all. She doesn't want that. People do have free will, so they can choose. She doesn't interfere. She doesn't interfere. You see her here on Earth, walking around telling people what to think and what to do? No. No, she's not around, so we have no one to blame but ourselves if she's not around. She created the ideas, she created the concepts. She didn't make anyone choose this path. And people are choosing this path now because of their own free will. It's trending. It's trending. And, well, you may say, well, this was inevitable. This was inevitable. And the Goddess knew that it was inevitable. So she should have never done it. Well, yes, she did know. She totally knew that it was inevitable. There's no denial that she didn't know that it was inevitable. She knew it was inevitable, but you have to admire her for trying to delay the inevitable as long as possible. Doing everything in her power to delay the inevitable, but she knew that certain souls needed to have this experience, this life experience, in order to be reformed. Like they had to confront their own corruption. And when I say corruption, I mean it. I mean like pure evil. They had to confront the chaos that they had introduced into their own souls. They had to confront their own evil and their choices that they made that led them down that path. People have to make a choice. People have to choose. Like, they want to be one of the cool kids. And they want to be cool. And they want to be rich. So they choose to join a gang. And then the gang influences them to do worse and worse things. And their character is corrupted. And their souls are corrupt too. Their souls are corrupted by these gangs. So, and also that's another story for another time. The gangs spreading a corrupting influence, and the link between gangs and the elites. That's a story for another time. But and also the music industry, obviously, which has been closely associated with gangs and with the elite, seeding people's minds with these symbols all these symbols, so many symbols um, that are part of Freemasonry, and you all know about this. It's all over the internet. It's all over YouTube. Just you can find out about Freemasonry symbols and the influence of Freemasonry on the music industry, and some of these cults that are secret cults. Like, they call them the Illuminati, but they don't call themselves the Illuminati, and people who use the word Illuminati get made fun of, so don't use Illuminati. But that's what they're called because we don't, for want of a better word, they're called Illuminati because we don't know what they call themselves. They're secret. And as long as they're secret, we have no idea what they call themselves, or even if they call themselves anything at all. But Freemasonry is out in the open, so we know what to call Freemasons. They're a secret organization, but they're out in the open, and we know about them. And they're probably the greater part of what's going on. They have 1 million members in the U.S. and more around the world. And when you get to the 33rd degree, apparently they spring a big surprise on you. Surprise, we worship Satan, and he's their god. Not saying that they're all bad, that there's some good Freemasons and some bad Freemasons. The good ones believe that Satan is a liberator. They believe Satan is a great guy, and that he fights a corrupt God. That he's a rebel. He's a rebel against a corrupt God, and that he's good. That Satan is good, and so you should do good things like Satan. And the bad ones are more influenced by Christianity, and they believe that Satan is evil, so they believe they should be evil like Satan. So there's two sides. There's two sides to the Freemasonry concept, and there's a whole lot of 33rd degree Masons. It's amazing how many have actually reached that degree. You see them every year. They ride motorcycles everywhere. They ride Harleys. That's their favorite motorcycles, the Harleys. Some of these guys are really old. And mostly white guys. Old white men. And of course it's fraternal, so women aren't allowed. But I won't say what I think of that. But yeah, there are elites who happen to be Freemasons, and who have a lot of influence over the Freemasons because apparently they fund the Freemasons, donated a lot of money to Shriners, and that's for their hospital, and a lot of that money gets funneled into the activities of the Freemasons and self-promotion of the Freemasons, just to keep their organization going. And of course, some of the founding fathers were Freemasons. They were all Freemasons. So, and of course, the Constitution is not perfect. It's a man-made document. It's not divinely inspired. And a lot of the material, like some of the material in, like the Constitution, is borrowed from, for example, Taoist masters, Taoist masters, and from Hinduism. So there's a lot of old stuff, like the thing about that all human beings are endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights, and the proposition that all men are created equal. That comes from Taoism. So just something to think about. you know, uh, people aren't perfect. People aren't perfect. And, but there's a lot of evil. There's a lot of evil. Now, a lot of this is a religion. It's religiously based. It's religiously based, and whether they happen to be on the side of Christianity or on the side of Satan, because there's very few goddess worshippers. That's kind of rare. Whether they're on the side of Christianity or on the side of Satan, or whether they worship goddess in ways that they shouldn't. Like if they worship her in ways that they shouldn't, like with pedophilia or child sacrifice, which both have occurred. Both are proven and documented on record as ways that people have worshipped goddess with rituals involving pedophilia and human sacrifice. That's been proven. It's just a fact. It's been proven. And Goddess hates this. Goddess hates this. And the only reason these people have done this, and the only reason they've gotten away with it, is because they want to be as different from Christianity as possible, which is an evil in itself. Wanting to be as different from Christianity as possible is an evil in itself. You have to realize that right now. Simply rejecting all principles espoused by Christianity because you despise Christian intolerance or aspects of Christianity you don't like is a mistake. It's a mistake to just go the other way and just do the opposite of everything that Christians do. That's a mistake. That's an evil in itself. It's extremism. It's extreme. And so people think that their God is on their side, whoever it may be. Whether it's a goddess worshiper or a Christian or a Satan worshiper, they all think God is on their side. And because they think God is on their side, they do despicable acts in the name of their God. They commit atrocities. They commit atrocities in God's name. And they've been doing this for thousands of years, which I discuss in detail in my book. And you look at the history, how bloody it is, and the things that people have done in the past in the name of God. It's just shocking and appalling, and you wonder, even if the Christian God were real, what he would be thinking of this. What would he think if he were real? Would you think he'd like this? Do you think he'd like for people to commit atrocities in his name? And to seed people's minds with certain ideas so that you can bring about the predictions of the Bible, so you can bring about the end of the world, or an end of the world scenario, a doomsday scenario, that you can bring it about to fulfill Scripture in God's name, because you're playing God in the name of God. You're playing God for God's sake. Is that right? Should you do that? Should you play God for God's sake? Well, the answer is no. No. And if you're a goddess worshiper, listen to this right now. Never play God for Goddess's sake. Never do it. Never play God for Goddess's sake. Just don't do it. This is something that we all should oppose. The best things we've seen in religion, throughout the ages, the better side, the good side, the better side, that should be emulated, and the bad things should be rejected. We should practice tolerance, goodness. Shouldn't harm others. We should be compassionate. We should have compassion on others. We should be kind to others. We shouldn't get ourselves used to the idea of doing doing evil acts, like even eating a person who's donated their body for you to eat it, or for money. You shouldn't get used to things like that, because then if you develop a taste for human flesh, you'll want to go out and kill to get more human flesh. Why would you want to pay $100 when you could kill someone for free and roast them in your oven? So just something to think about. Not suggesting anybody go out and do this. I'm actually very opposed to this. You should know what's happening. You should know some people are playing God for God's sake. Some people believe, it's like some Christians believe that they're the elect. Certain elite people believe they're the elect. And you can tell, like my mom encountered these in college. They told her, you can tell who the elect are because they have no flaws. They have perfect bodies, perfect income, they're rich, they're well favored, they have lots of friends, they're well spoken, polite, debonair, sophisticated, suave. And you can just tell that they're the chosen ones, and that they're one of the 10,000 that'll be saved, and everybody else is going to hell. Everyone else is going to hell. Like millions and millions of people are going to suffer for all of eternity, and only the chosen will be taken up to heaven. You can tell by who is rich. Someone who believes something like that hates the common man. They're full of hate. They may look good, they may be rich, but they're full of hate for the common man because they think he's not chosen by God. And so they don't see anything wrong with playing God for God's sake. Because if you're one of the chosen ones, you would want to bring about the end of the world faster so you can go to paradise and enjoy your reward. And you would want the common man to perish faster because they're all damned anyway. And if they're not chosen by God, and if they're damned, then you would want to send them to hell faster. You would want them all to die. So it's okay to seed ideas to people's minds, into the minds of the common man. It's okay to be a Judas goat and lead them into evil, lead them down the wrong path, because by redirecting them toward their doom, you're achieving your salvation faster. That is one possibility. They've been taught to hate. They've been taught to hate the common man, and that they're the elect. The elite are the elect, and also the ones that are more liberal tend to be Satanists. Freemasonry is very liberal. They have very strong liberal influences. They have ties to drugs and to gangs. And they not all of them, some of them are conservatives, but they want to promote Satan worship, and they want to do evil, create chaos. They want social chaos, and they eventually want there to be communism. And these particular elites think that it's to their advantage. They think it's to their advantage to have communism because they're big guys. And they won't run out of money anytime soon. They just have almost all the money on earth. And so they can ride out communism. And they can fund communism for many, maybe hundreds of years. And what they get in exchange for that money is a lot of power, a lot of influence over the communists, that they can control the whole world completely. If the whole world is under a one world government, one world government or a new world order, then and it's under communism, then they can control humanity for hundreds or even thousands of years. And they can eliminate any religion they like. They can eliminate all religions. They can establish a state religion, or establish Satan worship, or have no religion at all. You should all be awake to this danger, because your freedom of religion is in danger. It really is. Your freedom of religion. There's just so many groups that would like to take your freedom of religion away and establish their religion as the one state religion. And there's people who would like to murder humanity. The ones that want the one world government, they don't want to destroy the world. But if they can achieve a one world government through nuclear war, they will. They don't want everyone to perish. They just want to establish their one world government however they can. And they can see right now that indoctrinating youth may not be enough. They may need to go with thermal global nuclear war. That might be the only way that they can achieve their dream of a one world government and communism, where they can control the masses for thousands of years and mold them in their own image and take away freedom of religion, because that's the first thing the communists do, is they ban all religion. All religions are at risk. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a Christian, a Muslim, a Jew, a Hindu, a goddess worshiper. It doesn't matter. All religions will be banned. All of them. I mean, atheism will just literally be shoved down your throat. And some atheists like this. They don't see anything wrong with it. They don't see anything bad about it. Because just like any person that doesn't see the value in another person's religion, they see nothing wrong with having their ideas, as they've conceived them, shoved down other people's throats. They have no objections. And they see nothing wrong with shoving their ideas down other people's throats. It's like just the way any religious supremacist would do. Just the way any religious supremacist would do. And we all know that there's religious supremacy. Think about this. Why is it not okay to discriminate on the basis of race, of gender, of disability, for example, although some disabled people are still discriminated against and they get away with it. And of course, race and gender, sexual orientation. Why are these things protected under the law? But it's perfectly legal to discriminate against your mind. Isn't that more personal than your race or your gender? Isn't what your mind more personal? Isn't your mind more of who you are? Isn't your mind more significant to you? Isn't your mind and your soul the basis of your personality? It's okay to discriminate against your mind. People are literally discriminating against who you are as a person, who you are. In other words, they're striking at the heart of you. And that's okay. That's okay to strike at the heart of you, because your mind can be changed. And as long as your mind can be changed, your thoughts and your ideas and your strongly held beliefs are a choice. And as long as you can choose those beliefs, then, and of course some atheists have pointed out that belief is not a choice, that you can't choose to make yourself believe something you don't want to. But they're more than willing to try to change the beliefs of certain religions. But if it's not a choice for them, why should it be a choice for a religious person? It's not, if it's not a choice, then it's not a choice for anyone, including the religious. So why are you preaching against religion if you think there's no way you can change people's minds? Just a thought, a little bit of not thinking things through, and a little bit of hypocrisy there on the part of atheists. But yeah, your mind is being discriminated against. Your mind. So if they establish a state religion, or if they eliminate all religion and establish atheism, they're discriminating against your mind and your soul. And all religions are under threat. They're all under threat. They may discriminate against your religion, discriminate against you for your mind because it was a choice. It's just like the way obese people are discriminated against. Well, you chose to be fat. It's a choice. It's a lifestyle choice. It's the way you lived your life. It's a lifestyle. You chose to live your life as fat. You could have improved yourself. You have a lack of moral fiber and a lack of character. And you had a choice. You made a choice. And so your choice should be condemned. And we should never stop trying to get you to lose weight, even if we make you fatter and fatter, because we don't understand biochemistry. We're not Goddess. We're not Goddess. We don't know. We don't understand biochemistry, even though the proof is in the pudding and 99% of diets fail, and then people gain back more weight than they lost. And it happens to almost everyone. Almost everyone. It's a majority of people gain back more weight than they lost. But it's still okay to discriminate because it's so unhealthy being fat. So we just have to keep making you diet and keep making you fatter and fatter, and pretending to close our eyes because we see that people can lose weight if they try, but they can't sustain it. And we just don't know. We just don't know that diets don't work. We don't know that. So we'll close our eyes and pretend they work. We just don't know, and we just live in total ignorance of the human body and just blame you for your moral failings again and again and again. Discriminate you against in an employment, discriminate against you in clothing, in food, everything set against you. We'll even tax soda pop. Taxing soda pop, another form of discrimination. So just something to think about. There's a lot of intolerance for various people's religions. But if you're elite, if you believe certain things like your religion tells you you're elite and that you're elect, and that everybody else is going to hell, so it's okay to destroy the common man. And you say, well, that's okay because that's my mind and that's my religion. Certain things you may believe that are really, really unacceptable. And there should be laws against you practicing your religion actively. Like if your religion says that you should be a cannibal, obviously you shouldn't be allowed to practice that religion, right? Same thing goes with manipulating the masses. We should have laws making that illegal. There never will be laws making that illegal, but seeding people's minds with cannibalism. Seeding people's minds with cannibalism. That should be a crime. Just suggesting people commit a crime against humanity. Uh, some people just want total freedom of speech and be able to say whatever they feel like. But when you seed the masses' minds for whatever reason with cannibalism, suggest people commit crimes. And the only person who's going to suffer for it is Chrissy Teigen, even though somebody made her do it. Somebody put her up to it. We know somebody put her up to it. It wasn't just her own idea. Somebody put her up to it, made her say it. And this was before coronavirus, before rioting, before China invaded India. It was before all of this. The people were being prepared. So it shows a lot of planning has been going on. It shows there's been some planning. So it's been thought out. And they thought if it happened before, then no one would associate it with what happened after. But the fact that it came before shows that it's all being staged. It's all being planned out. So that's it. The kinder, gentler side of Goddess does not judge you. The kinder, gentler side of Goddess never hates. She's just full of love. But Maleficent, she hates you. She totally hates you for choosing evil. Whenever or wherever you've done it, whenever or wherever you've chosen evil, she hates you for it. Just something to keep in mind, something to think about. And she does not promote evil. She does not promote evil. She may give people the choice. She may even tempt them or present tempting situation, but it's all to the mind of reforming you. And she doesn't want you to choose evil. She wants you to choose the good, always. So she really hates you if you choose evil. She hates you for it. So as far as worshiping her goes, you can choose not to worship her if you think, well, I would never worship anybody who was evil. Wouldn't give my worship to an evil deity. So I won't worship her. You can make that choice. Choose only the good. But Maleficent is a force for good. She really opposes evil, even though she invented it. And although she tempts people, it's with the mind of reforming them. So, and you wonder, how can you reform someone by tempting them? Well, because by giving them a choice between good and evil, if people choose evil and there's a bad result, they remember that. You may say, well, their memories are erased from life to life. Yeah, but their soul remembers. Their soul remembers, and it's actually quite easy to recall one's past lives if one tries. But it's I know it's controversial. I know it's a controversial subject, past lives. I know that's another controversy. But there's some Christians that believe in past lives too. Oh yeah, there's Christians that believe in past lives. In fact, Christianity the early church taught reincarnation. You may not believe it, but it's true. And so that matter is up in the air. That's just a controversy. But as far as Maleficent, I want to emphasize the fact that she isn't pure evil. She is a force for good. And she does look to the good and want the good, even though she invented evil. So she's reform-minded. Even though she's quite passionate, and she can even hate someone if they choose evil. So it's up to you to choose whether to worship Maleficent Goddess or not. Not Maleficent the character, but Maleficent Goddess. Um, the way that Disney has portrayed Maleficent, uh, is pretty accurate. Pretty accurate. Vengeance is her primary motivation. The idea that she was corrupted, by force outside of herself, by humans, is incorrect. It was just the way the character was framed up by the author, who I'm familiar with. She's a feminist who wrote the script for Maleficent, but Goddess wasn't corrupted by a force outside of herself. Evil was a natural part of Goddess, that was a side part of her that just grew out of her. So that's it. Goddess, on the whole, is good. On the whole, she is good. And the net effect is good. So she's not evil. But Maleficent is evil in certain aspects, but not all evil. And she does look to the good and want the good just as much as the light side of Goddess does. So they all look to the good. As for the greater good, they do everything that they do. You can refer to Goddess as they, because she's so vast that she has various aspects to her personality, and their aspects. She's still one, but she's still of one mind. But there's various aspects, and various personalities have grown out of Goddess and have formed into their own being. So, if you choose to worship Goddess, be sure not to worship her in ways that she would never, ever choose to be worshipped. Always look to the good, and always look to kindness, compassion, and tolerance.